Despite the best efforts of Disney PR and the mainstream media to try to convince everyone that the woke race swap Little Mermaid live-action remake was a success, in all reality, it was a complete box office failure. This is a movie with a reported production budget of $250 million and a massive marketing campaign needed to at least hit $750 million at a minimum just to break even in theaters, and it couldn't even crack $600 million. It was a massive disappointment and lost money at the box office, and that was all before we found out that Disney has actually been misreporting the budget. Because even though it was reported at around $250 million, it looks like there's a lot more that was spent on this movie. The Little Mermaid production budget soared to nearly $300 million, more than doubling its losses at the box office. And that is just through August of last year. That's not counting a bunch of post-production. In all likelihood, that number could have swelled up to $350 million, according to most people's estimates. This is a disaster for them. There's no other way around it. But even after that, Disney tried to do their best to convince everyone that, hey, even though it was a disappointment at theaters, it did really well on Disney+. Suck it, haters. Disney issues statement on Little Mermaid viewership following flop reports. And of course, in the aftermath of them revealing views for the first time on Disney Plus when they said, Ahsoka was incredible, it got 14 million viewers globally over its first week, they came out and said Little Mermaid got even more. It got 16 million viewers in its first 5 days. Of course, it wasn't that long after we found out with some context that the Ahsoka numbers were not good. That even though Disney tried to make it sound good with their 14 million view number, it was actually one of the worst Star Wars shows they've seen. And as it's tracked, it's been a pathetic failure. It looks like a similar thing can be said for The Little Mermaid, because now that we have some real numbers that aren't from Disney, people are able to actually show how this movie's doing. Race swap Little Mermaid Nielsen numbers far lower than Encanto and Black Panther, and also something like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. According to Nielsen, The Little Mermaid racked up 1.3 billion minutes viewed, which is good for 4th spot on the Nielsen overall chart for the week of September 4th through the 10th. The film was bested by Suits, Virgin River, and One Piece. It did beat out Bluey, which has been the dominant program on Disney+. And you see right there, Little Mermaid, 1.3 million minutes. That would be pretty damn good for, say, a TV show that just came out, just put an episode out. But The Little Mermaid, you have to remember, is a movie, a 2 hour and 15 minute long movie. So all those numbers have to get factored in. And when you do the math, what do you know? You get about 10 million people that tuned in that first week that it was on Disney+. The problem is, Disney tried to pretend like this thing was breaking records, and it absolutely was not. Think about this statement that they put out. The Little Mermaid breaks records on Disney Plus as one of the most viewed Disney movie premieres ever, garnering 16 million views in its first 5 days on streaming. They even tried to claim that it was basically the best premiere for a movie they'd ever seen on Disney Plus since they set a record back last October with the Hocus Pocus 2. Unfortunately, it's pretty easy to prove Disney is once again lying. Check this out, because, again, we have the numbers. Look when you compare the Little Mermaid streaming numbers to something like Black Panther Wakanda Forever. That debuted with 2.2 billion minutes watched. Now, of course, you have to do the math and factor in how long is the movie Wakanda Forever. It's certainly longer than The Little Mermaid, but when you do that math, it actually equates to just under 15 million people tuning in the first 5 days on Disney. And keep in mind, this is at a time where Disney Plus was bleeding subscribers, losing hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not like that helped out the Disney Plus platform. Yet that, which came out in February of this year, was way more in demand than something like The Little Mermaid. So even though this 16 million number probably includes a worldwide number just like they did for Ahsoka, it's not the most since Hocus Pocus. In fact, Guardians of the Galaxy garnered more in its first 5 days than Little Mermaid did. That had about 1.6 billion minutes watched, and then when you do the math, based on how long Guardians of the Galaxy is, it also beat Little Mermaid. So you start to see a pattern with Disney lying about their numbers, with Disney misrepresenting Disney Plus. Weird, isn't it? It's almost like I remember something. Disney lying about the success of Disney Plus. Where have I heard that before? Oh, yeah, that's right. They're currently embroiled in a lawsuit from their investors about misleading people about the success of Disney Plus, lying about their numbers on Disney Plus. Weird how that works, isn't it? We can make direct comparisons to things that have come out this year that have done better than it. Not just from a streaming numbers standpoint in terms of million minutes watched, but also from the amount of viewers that it had based on how they calculate those things. Just like they lied about the production budget, just like they lied about it being a box office success, they're lying about it being the biggest thing we've seen on Disney Plus in recent memory. No, it's just not. Now, if you want to argue that it's a decent number, I think it's decent. 1.3 is a respectable number, but it's not doing anything to grow Disney Plus. It certainly doesn't stack up to some of those other movies that have come out, which have, again, Disney's paying $100 million to themselves for the rights to put this movie on their streaming service while they're losing billions of dollars on Disney Plus. It's all a joke. And all this goes to show is, one, Disney will continue to misrepresent things, and two, that The Little Mermaid is in fact a bigger flop than anyone could have possibly imagined. That's why Disney tried so hard to say anybody that doesn't like it's a racist. That's why they tried so hard to defend it. That's why they've had the media out there trying to go full spin mode for this from the beginning. This was a catastrophic failure for them that lost them a shit ton of money. That is the reality. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.